Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Film My Run on Zwift. My name is Stephen Cousins and we are broadcasting live around the world on Facebook, on Twitch.tv, on Mixer and on YouTube. While we're getting everything set up, it would be absolutely awesome if you could go and subscribe to the Film My Run YouTube channel and also the Zwift Runs and Rides YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/FilmMyRun, on Twitter at FilmMyRun, and you can also go to the website, which is www.filmmyrun.com. It's very nearly time, so sit back, relax and watch me do all the hard work.
Think I'm running, but I'm not. I'm just going to chat. I'm going to be watching Facebook chat and YouTube chat, so if you want to say hello, please do. But bear with me while I just set up my chat. Let's see what everyone's doing. There's Marcus Holmes and Paul Deering. Where's Paul Deering? Jonathan Cost. There's Jonathan Cost. Let's go and have a look at Jonathan. So Jonathan's with Group A, Group B. Set up the chat on my phone because it's not working on my other system. Right. Paul Carter says recovery run. I'm not running. Look, I am stood still. I'm not running. Paul Coates says good evening. Emma Hughes, you're running today, Stephen. 109 miles, not enough for you yesterday. Absolutely superhuman. I'm not running. Honestly, you know me. If I could run, I absolutely would. But I cannot run today. My legs are absolutely crashed. And Ryan Downey says, what in the world? Group A? No. No. So I'm here. If you want to ask me a question, if you want to say hello, then please do. I'm just going to be watching the guys running, and any chat you want to throw my way, please do. I'm watching Facebook chat, watching YouTube chat, and also Twitch chat, I think, but hardly ever see anyone on Twitch chat, do we? Got my cup of coffee. So if you don't know anything about Zwift, if you don't know anything about Monday Run Club, it is every Monday at 7:30 UK time, or if you look on an app called the Zwift Companion app, you'll find it listed there under events. You go to events and you can see Monday Run Club, you can see Wednesday workout, you can see Run in the Park, which there are 3 kind of Zwift flagship events that happen every week, surrounded by plenty of other events. It's all live running, it's all done on a treadmill, but broadcast onto Zwift, so you can see a little avatar running on Zwift whilst you run. And it enables you to run with other people, even though you might not be able to because you might be stuck at home looking after the kids or whatever it might be. So this is the screen that you're looking at now. And on the right-hand side there, you've got all the people involved in the run and a map of where we're running. And then at the top there, you've got your pace and your distance and your time. It is a game, so I'm at level 21 in the game at the moment, although actually it doesn't list it there because I'm not running, I'm just watching. It's not showing all the things that are supposed to be there, so my heart rate and cadence, for example, are not showing. Down there is a breakout of the workout that we're doing, and mile and kilometre splits down there as well. And at the bottom, if I was running, you would see a heart rate and a pace graph kind of broadcast at the bottom of the screen there. Because when watching other runners and not actually running, then you can't see that. So we're following Jonathan Cost at the moment. What you'll find is that you'll see regular runners here. Every week you get, obviously we get new runners or people who just turn up once or twice, but there often is a core of runners who we recognise, like we've got Wesley New here and Christophe Verdu here. And then this is Marcus Holmes. And these guys are running in Group A. Sanderson, I can't remember Sanderson's first name, but I do recognise it before. Marcus and Christoph are running in Group A. That they're going the furthest today, and they're also going to be running the fastest today. Then you've got Wesley New and S Pinto again, whose first name I can't remember. But both of those guys are running in Group C, although they've probably joined the wrong group because they seem to be running fairly speedily, just ahead of Group B. And this is Group B. S. Yates, again, I should remember who that is. Paul Deering. Ryan Downey's there. So Paul and Ryan and Jonathan Cost are very regular runners with us here on Monday Run Club and Wednesday Workouts. Jay Allen, James. I'm going to be exposed now for not remembering the first names of loads of people who are regularly on Monday Run Club and Wednesday Workout. And you can see the country flags next to people's names as well, so that indicates where they're all from or where they identify as being from. And you can see we've got people from the USA, Portugal, Germany, UK, Norway, and usually there is a real variety of people running from all over the world. Marcus says, have I been watching Wimbledon? No, I haven't been watching Wimbledon. And you know what I thought the other day to myself? I have no idea who a lot of tennis players are these days. The only one that has sprung into my attention is the 15-year-old girl who has been playing really well. But I don't know what her name is. And you'll have to tell me who Coco is. I know you're running. If you can type as well, then that'd be great, Marcus. I don't know who Coco is. Paul Coates says I need a cappuccino. Paul, I've got coffee. I've also got, probably not going to get eaten, but I've got Marmite on toast. I'm going to have a bite now, actually. Now I'm going to talk with my mouth full, aren't I? Excuse me. For some reason, I left my laptop, my tablet, ran out of battery. It's the tablet that I normally use to watch people chat, and it's died a death on me today, so I'm having to use my phone. Oh right, so Coco is that 15-year-old girl. Yeah, amazing. So has she been knocked out today then? I know she was playing today, but I didn't know whether she'd been knocked out or not. Yeah, amazing watching her play that first and second round games. Incredible. And has Andy Murray played with Serena Williams yet in the doubles, the mixed doubles? Because I haven't seen that either. Why are we talking about tennis? And a running game. Lol Monster says hi. So quite a few of you have said amazing that I'm running tonight, and obviously you can see that I'm not now. And some of you might be wondering why all that is. I did a big... I tend to do these stupid 100-mile, 100-kilometre or 100-mile ultras. Don't ask me why. It just happened. It's not my fault. By accident. And now I seem to do them all the time. And so I did another one on Saturday stroke Sunday. And it was much harder than expected. So the company that organised it, usually do really ridiculously hard races. And then they advertised that they were going to do this 100-miler, which was a change from the norm and suitable for first-time 100-mile runners. And it would be as 100-milers go, it would be a fairly sedate, easy, relaxed 100-miler. Flat, not hardly any elevation at all, and really easy through the countryside. Running through central London first, and then along the Thames, and then down through Kent and into Sussex, on the beautiful Sussex countryside hills. Well, it was that, but it was by no means easy at all. It was unbelievably hard, primarily because in the early part of the day when we were running through London, it was blazingly hot, so we were really drained from the heat. And then in the second half of the run, and it rained all night, although that wasn't too bad because it did kind of cool us down. But in the second half of the run, we went through countryside on paths that don't look like they've been used for years and years. They were so overgrown. So we were tramping through nettles and thorns and having to push them out of our way and getting our faces scratched and our legs scratched with all these thorns and nettles. And it was endless. There was so much of it. And then when you eventually did come to an open field, the open field had fully grown grass, and you had to go through that. And of course, with the morning dew yesterday morning and the rain overnight, when you walked through that, your feet were just absolutely soaked. So I spent a good 16 hours with soaking wet feet. Consequently, I've now got the worst blisters on my feet that I've had for years. It's really done my feet in, and it just took ever. It took so long to do. I was hoping to do that race in under 24 hours, and it took me closer to 27, 26, 40 something. So it was really hard, and so consequently, I just can't run today. There's no way I'd be able to manage it. TV Guy AU, good morning from Australia. Hello to you. And Liam, Liam says, how are you running again? I'm not running. Do you know what? Zwift tennis. Now, how could they make that work with like a Wii controller thing somehow? And you could. I mean, that's already done though, isn't it? It's already done in the Wii and things like that. So it wouldn't be an innovation. Because you can play tennis and things like that on other platforms. But nevertheless, good plan. Okay, so Coco lost to the former number one. Okay. More coffee. It's actually so nice not to be running. Right, let's have a little look through and see how everyone's doing. Okay, so A group, there's Sanderson. Now, the idea I like to think, the idea with group runs is that the group sticks together. But you can see here, this is Group A, and we've got 3 runners. Actually, they're not that far apart, actually. They can still see each other. So Vadu is behind Marcus. Marcus is 3 seconds ahead. And then you've got Sanderson, who's 8 seconds ahead. That's fine. Normally, if it was me, I like there to be kind of a tight group. It's difficult when there's only 3 or 4 of you. We've got another one here, G. O'Brien. When you've only got a few of you, it's a bit difficult, isn't it, to kind of stick tightly together. G. O'Brien is way behind. G. O'Brien must have started late. He's 2 minutes 20 seconds behind. And Group B, let's have a look at Group B. So Ryan and Lundetra and Deering, Paul Deering. Right, if you look at Group B is a bit more together as a group. They are actually running as a group. So the idea is that they kind of slow their pace down on the treadmill or speed it up just a little bit, just so they can catch up with each other. They are given instructions. So on the left-hand side, as I showed you earlier with the arrows, they are given instructions as to what to do. So in this run, we are doing a gradual pace increase. So they're doing 800-meter splits after the warm-up. And they're doing, they're well beyond the warm-up now, aren't they? Where are we? See, that's showing my stats up the top there, 0 kilometres per hour. I want to see what other people's stats are, but I can't, can I? That's one of the problems, I think, with joining the group and not running, is you can't see other people's heart rate and cadence. Marcus, whereabouts are you? Anybody who's watching, whereabouts are you in the workout? Anybody who's watching or listening? Emma Hughes, yes, I've got a problem at the moment with videos because I am way behind. I've got about 7 race videos that I need to edit. And that's weeks of work. So I'm way behind. But I have filmed 1066. I will put it on YouTube. The when is a completely different matter. I could decide to do it quite quickly and put it up there quite quickly. Or I might leave it and wait to get all the others done as well, and then it could be months before it's online. So I do apologise, but I am just way behind. Okay, so Marcus says he's on his 3rd increase of pace. So they are three sets in. So they've done. So Group B here, they were starting at 12.3 kilometres an hour, going up to 12.6, and so they're now probably just about starting their 3rd set, which is 12.9 kilometres an hour. Ryan Downey says he's at 2.6 kilometres in. Okay, so yeah, a little bit behind Group A. Group A started earlier as well, didn't they? Group A started a minute or so earlier. Ryan Downey says his heart rate is 150. If you are watching or listening and you are running at the same time, you want to tell me your heart rate, that would be great. It's a shame you can't see it. If I'm watching somebody, I want to know all their stats as well. But obviously here it just says 0 kilometres an hour and no heart rate or cadence because it's referring to me. But I want to know what your stats are to get that changed. More toast. So Tavares is the only person running in Group D. Group D is usually the group that does the least number of miles and at the slowest pace. So if you are unsure about your pace on Zwift, your running pace in general, start with Group D and see how you get on. You might find that you're way too quick. It's uncomfortable to run so slow in Group D. You might find it's perfect for you. If it's not perfect, just move up to Group C. So here we've got Pinto and Wesley New in Group C, but they seem to be running in Group B because they're right in the middle of the Group B pack. Group B is the largest group, and with the addition of Group C, obviously even bigger, and they are sticking together as much as possible. So you can see S. Yates at the front. She is only a few seconds ahead of A. Roberts, who is the back marker of the B group. And you can see, if you look on the screen, everyone's right in front of A. Roberts there. Apparently, I'm only 11 minutes and 50 seconds behind. I ran really fast and hard. I might be able to catch up by the end of the session. Marcus says he's got no heart rate today. Ryan Downey says he's running at 1% incline. Good for you. Put it up to 4%, just for a laugh. Carol Rushworth says that Jonathan Cost, his heart rate is 142. That's not bad. So your idea in a run like this is so there's Jonathan with his 142-ish heart rate. The idea with a run like this is it's a tempo run, it's a gradually increasing run, it's done in two sections, so we go up to 15 kilometres an hour and then back down again and then up again. And the idea is to try and keep your heart rate from going into zones 4 and 5. Certainly zone 5, you shouldn't even be touching zone 5 of your heart rate. But you should be in zone 3 for the majority of the run, and then maybe touching zone 4 when it gets to the sprints at 15 kilometres an hour. But this run is like a warm-up to the week. It's a start to your training for the week. It's not meant to be an all-out kind of back-breaking effort. This is just supposed to get your heart moving, get your heart working hard, but not overly hard. And the way you do that is you gradually increase the pace, which gradually increases your heart rate, so that by the end of the run you feel like you've done a good workout, but your heart hasn't had to work overly hard. It's difficult again to talk about heart rate without being able to see the different zones and the different colours that Zwift gives you when you run. But if I was running, the different kilometres that I've done would be in different colours based on the heart rate, the average heart rate that I had during those kilometres. So there'd be kilometre markers on the left hand side of the screen. See where it says kilometre splits? Just under that, because obviously I've got no kilometres, so it's saying 0 at the moment. But each kilometre will be listed, and then each kilometre will be coloured a different colour. So from blue to green to yellow to orange to red. Red is when your max heart rate. You can't go any harder. You can't work any harder. Because your heart has a maximum rate that it can get to depending on your fitness and your age, and beyond that, you're gonna die. so you don't want to be at max heart rate very often, but you can get there and you can maintain it for a little while, especially in 5k runs, in 10k runs where you're absolutely going all out to try and get the fastest time you possibly can. You will be at zone 5 of your heart rate for a good percentage of the time. Maybe, even up to 50% of the time you could be up there. But most of the time in a run like that, you'll be in zone 4. And then in a run like this, you'll be in zone 3, but touching zone 4. So most of your run will be in zone 3 of your heart rate, which is coloured yellow on Zwift. And then occasionally you might dip in to zone 4 of your heart rate. So zone 3
might be something like 140 to 155 or something. 140 to 155. Zone 4 would be 155 to 170 and 165, and Zone 5 would be anything from 170 upwards. My max is about 185, I think. Leo says, Stephen, hope you're recovering well and you're all well. Yes, I am. My feet are in a state, Leo, and my legs are covered in stings and scratches and bites, insect bites. I'm scratching loads of insect bites. I've got nettle stings. I can still feel the nettle stings over 24 hours after finishing, and scratches from various thorns. So yes, I'm fine, but I just need that recovery time. Ryan Downey says Jonathan Cost dragged him into Group B. No, you normally run Group B though, Ryan, don't you? You're not Group C, are you? I thought you were normally... Oh no, maybe you are. You are normally Group C, aren't you? Oh, well done. I'm proud of you, Ryan. Good job. Good job. Carol says, Jonathan doing correct pace but getting dropped. Yes, but that's interesting. That is a side effect of having a direct treadmill link. So those people running on with foot pods, for those who don't know, I'll explain briefly. The way you get your speed into Zwift is to use a foot pod generally. That foot pod measures the cadence that you run at, the speed that you run at, and broadcasts that information to Zwift, which is running on your iPad or your computer, whatever it might be. Hello. Oh, did I? Thank you very much. Now, my daughter's now handing me questions that have come in from Facebook that I've missed. Thank you. Where was I? Yes. But there are some treadmills which are able to broadcast directly to Zwift, so you don't actually need a foot pod. And I think Jonathan Cost, who we're watching at the moment, is using a treadmill which broadcasts direct to Zwift. I have one of those treadmills, and sometimes you find that people who are wearing foot pods will be gradually getting ahead of you. And I haven't quite worked out exactly why that is. Even though on the treadmill you are going at exactly the right pace, people with foot pods seem to slowly creep ahead. Not loads, just a little bit. And you just have to kind of bump up your treadmill speed a little bit just to catch up. Hardly noticeable at all, but you know, after a few minutes you can definitely sense that you're behind. It must be something to do with rather than the inaccuracy from your treadmill to Zwift. It's more likely to be to do with the inaccuracies of the foot pods broadcasting to Zwift, dropouts, things like that, or slight increases of speed that don't exist in real life. Things like that must probably be the reason, but I don't actually know why that happened. But it happens to me as well. Right, Marcus Holmes' question was that my daughter has just given me. Do you wear your stride outside for these ultras? Yes and no. So this run I did wear my stride. Many runs I don't. Some of the runs I do, anything over 30 hours really. The battery life on a stride is supposed to last for 30 hours. So anything over 30 hours, not that I've done many runs over 30 hours, but anything over 30 hours, wouldn't be much point in wearing the stride. Also, sometimes I've just forgotten to charge it and haven't taken it with me. Yesterday, I did remember to take it with me. I did remember to wear it, so I have got stride, foot pod information, power information for the run I did, and it can be seen on my Garmin Connect site. But Strava doesn't show your power, I don't think. It doesn't show power from a stride anyway. It doesn't on it doesn't on the phone app. It might do on the website actually. I don't know. Yeah, Carol says she agrees with my summation of why Jonathan is falling behind. Jason Darby, good evening. Good job on the 100 miles. Sounds brutal. Yes and no, Jason. It was brutal and it wasn't brutal. So
In reality, the elevation profile of that run I did yesterday was not that high. I've done way, way higher races than that. It was about 2,000 meters elevation. I've done 6,000 meters elevation in shorter distance. So it really was relatively flat. And there was no, in terms of what you might imagine to be difficult terrain, it was all fields and country paths. So the actual ground that you were running on was not, you weren't going to fall over and crack your head on a rock, or, you weren't so high up in the sky that you were dizzy. It wasn't really tough terrain in that respect, but it was tough terrain in the fact that it was just overgrown and thick. The grass was so thick beneath your feet, it was hard to run on. It was oddly brutal. It was strangely hard. Much more difficult than I could possibly have imagined it to be. But when I do a 100-mile race, which is much easier than I think it's going to be, then that'll be the day, won't it? Because I'm not sure they actually exist. Ali says, footpod measures technique as well. It pushes you faster if you kick your heels higher. So you'll creep ahead, running good technique with treadmill set steady. Okay, yes, so the newer footpods do measure technique, the Bluetooth footpods. The older ones, so Garmin's old footpod won't measure your technique. It's a very basic machine. But yes, some of the newer footpods, certainly the Stride and the Zwift pod as well, or certainly the old Milestone pod, give you some very interesting different metrics. So it might well be that gives you a bit of a lift, that you run faster if you can see those metrics. It could well be. So that was Ali. Thank you, Ali, for that. Leo says he watched all my live video updates from the race. Yeah, because I've got a nicer phone these days. Let's change and watch somebody else, by the way, because we've been watching Jonathan for ages. I mean, we love Jonathan, but let's find somebody else. Who should we go to? Let's go and watch my friend Verdu, Christophe Verdu. He's in Group A. Yes, so on the race yesterday, I was doing live video updates. Not very many. I think I did about 4 through the entire run. But that was fun to do because I've got a phone. I've got a new phone recently, and this phone, the battery actually lasts quite well on it. So I do feel like I'm able to do these kind of things. So anyway, Leo says, yes, I watched all your live updates. I've been out of action for almost 3 weeks now. No running at all. Injured for another 6 weeks. Tibia chipped and tendons stretched. Gutted. What can I do to keep up my cardio levels without further injury? Swimming, and if you can do cycling, I don't know if you can do cycling, but swimming would be my number one recommendation. Also, keep your core strong, so do upper body workouts. Weight training, for example, is always a good thing. Weight training is also very good for weight loss if you need to do that. Keep the weight off if you're eating loads of food but not actually running. But the number one thing, which will give all your muscles in your body a good workout and keep your cardio good, and get a high heart rate, is swimming. So if you can get out to the pool, go and do some swimming, and that will keep you fit. Cycling as well, and weight training. Now let's see. My Android is coming on now, my tablet, so I might have to keep reverting to my phone. So Marcus, can you let me know where you are? I'm not paying attention to where you all are in the run. Thierry from France says, felicitations pour ta course. Thank you very much. Congratulations on your run. Not that I'm teaching you to suck eggs. I'm sure you realised what that actually meant. Marcus says, I'm contemplating trying a 100 miler on the treadmill later this month. Anyone interested in this craziness? Yes. Now, I was planning was a 24-hour treadmill run. And I planned this ages ago, but Zwift HQ said they wouldn't support it because crazy people like us who do ultras are not necessarily, and I can see their point, are not necessarily the kind of people they're looking to attract to Zwift. So they wouldn't put a lot of effort behind it. But if anybody wants to do a 24-hour run, I was definitely thinking about that. And if we could cover 100 miles on the treadmill in 24 hours, that would be amazing. But you wouldn't have to do 100 miles. You could do any amount of distance that you wanted, any amount of distance that you wanted in those 24 hours. And you wouldn't have to do continuous running. You could run, have a rest, and come back on the treadmill, have a sleep, have your dinner, whatever you might want to do, and then come back on the treadmill. As long as you stay logged into Zwift as a runner for 24 hours from start to finish, and then your distance would be counted. And we could do it as a little, it wouldn't be an official Zwift competition, but we could do it as a little competition. We'd have to have some kind of regulations to ensure people didn't just leave the treadmill going without anybody on it, but there we are. Okay, Marcus says he's 4.25 miles in, second increase after the strides. Okay, so Group A are over halfway through now, and they're on their second pace increase. So they've done their first lot of increases, the first 4 lots of 800. They've done 2 sprints at 200 metres each at 15 kilometres an hour. And now Group A are on their second pace increase. So Group B have done 6 kilometres. So they're not far behind. They must be on their first pace increase. Jason Darby says he doesn't think his treadmill would survive that, nor would he. Come on, you could do, if you just logged in, Jason, run for like a couple of hours and then stop, but keep your computer signed on to Zwift, and then log out after 24 hours, and you'll have 10 miles logged in 24 hours. That's all right. Like I say, you wouldn't have to run for the whole 24 hours, just as much time as you want. You could even go to bed, get up in the morning and do another hour on the treadmill before the end of the 24 hours. Right, Marcus says he's up for the 24-hour run. It was just, what had happened was I kind of left it because Zwift HQ had said they weren't really that interested in putting anything behind it, and wouldn't run it as an official event. I didn't lose interest in it, but I just kind of put it on the back burner. But if people want to do it, if people actually are interested, we could try and organise something like that. Thinking about it, my only problem now is that my window of opportunity is very small, because I've got another 100-miler early next month, and then I've got 140-kilometre race the month after that. So sticking in another 100-miler before the end of the summer is going to be really tough. I wonder if we should do it just for my benefit. I wonder if we should do it towards the winter, like early November, late October, something like that. I don't know. What do people think? Or do people just think we're stupid? It wouldn't surprise me. Right, if you are watching and you haven't yet subscribed to either the Film My Run YouTube channel, or there's also the Zwift Runs and Rides YouTube channel, which we're broadcasting on now. Normally, I used to broadcast on YouTube on my Film My Run channel. I've recently changed to an old Zwift channel that I kind of left redundant for a little while. It's called Zwift Runs and Rides. If you're not subscribed to it, go and subscribe there, because all my Zwift Runs and Zwift Rides will now be broadcast on that channel again, because the Film My Run channel was getting a little bit clogged up with Zwift stuff, and it's really supposed to be for it's supposed to be for real world running, ultras and marathons and stuff that I do, which I take the camera with me and film. And that, I think people felt that it was losing that focus. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. So do go and subscribe. Film My Run on YouTube and Zwift Runs and Rides on YouTube. Thank you very much. Marcus says, I'm running a marathon early November. Time, so would prefer after that. We could do early December. And Ali, yes, absolutely agreed, Ali. More people would be up for long distance on the treadmill in the winter. That's true. Colder outside. And yes, if you're running in a garage or in a shed like I am, it would be very hot, wouldn't it, for 24 hours on a treadmill. So yeah, maybe in the winter when it's colder outside would be better for us to do. So let's just hold that in our heads and think about doing that next time. So S Yates has done 7.1 kilometres. Ryan Downey has done 6.8. So S Yates has pulled ahead a bit of the group. Let's have a look at the group. So the group is still a little bit together. We've got 4 people running together there. Where's S Pinto? And they've fallen behind a bit. So Paul Deering, Jonathan Cost, Jay Allen and Ryan Downey. Why can't I remember Jay Allen's name? Is it James? And Ryan Downey are all running pretty much together. And then you've got Lunda Trey from Norway, who kind of seems to be on his own. And S. Yates has gone off on her own as well, a bit further ahead. But they must all be now at least into their 3rd pace increase, maybe even 4th. Ryan Downey, 7 kilometres on our last 2 steady increases. Okay, so they're on their last two 800s. And Marcus says we need to think about time zones. Yes, although, do you know what? I did have a think about this when I originally thought about the idea. I did think about this, and in a way, it kind of doesn't matter an awful lot, because you could say you started at 6 o'clock in the morning. You run all the way. You run all the way through the day, and then you run all the way through the night, and you finish early in the morning, which is quite a nice time to finish. You're tired, but it's nice to finish in the morning. If you start at 6 o'clock at night, you have the bonus of the fact that you run first off into the night, and then the hardest part of your run is during the day, and then when you finish, it's pretty much time for bed. So it could possibly be that whichever way, there's positives to starting at any time of day almost. But yes, I mean, quite right, we do need to think about it. Now, do we still have our Group D runner anywhere? I can't see him. He's not popping up on the screen anywhere. So there's Marcus, and there's M. Sanderson. Again, and the other 2 A group runners seem to have disappeared as well off my screen. Now we've got Yates, Ryan Downey, Jay Allen, Jay Cost, Jonathan Cost, Paul Deering, Wesley New, S. Pinto. Oh, what's your name? So those 2 are sticking together nicely. And whenever I run, it's always Christophe Ledoux who stays right next to me, and he's always really good at sticking right to pace. Certainly if I'm the run leader for that particular run. There isn't a run leader for this run, but often if you're new to Zwift, if you don't know anything about Zwift, sometimes a run will have a run leader. The run leader is indicated by a yellow beacon above their heads and a yellow marker next to their name. If I'm the run leader, quite often Christophe is very good at staying right next to me, and it looks like Wesley New and S. Pinto are sticking together today. Group B, normally very good at sticking together, and they aren't too far apart. And if they're listening to me, they're probably deliberately catching up with each other to make the group nice and tight again. Aren't you guys? Yes, you are. Sergio Pinto. Thank you, Carol. Do you know what? I could look it up on my... I could just look up on here, couldn't I? Zwift Companion app. What am I doing? need to get connected to the same Wi-Fi network. That would be a good idea. It's so easy to get set up for Zwift running. All you need are a few things. Firstly, access to a treadmill. Either at home or at the gym, it doesn't matter what kind of treadmill you use, any treadmill will work with Zwift. Next, you need a foot pod, preferably a Bluetooth foot pod, and the most popular ones to use at the moment are the Zwift Pod or the Stride. Then simply download the Zwift app onto any of these devices. So, a Mac, a PC, an iPhone, an iPad, an Android phone, Zwift even works on Apple TV. Pair your footpod in the app, possibly add a heart rate monitor if you like, and that's it. You're all set up for Zwift running. Okay, Marcus is now starting the final. So on the left hand side it doesn't actually show you, it says plus 3 more. So at the end of the run there are 2 more 200 metre strides, and Marcus is now doing those. And now I've loaded up the Zwift Companion app. I can see that the other Group A member is Mark Sanderson. And we've got Jeff Allen, not James Allen as I said earlier, Sergio Pinto, Wesley New, Jonathan Cost, Ryan Downey, and Sally Yates is the girl who is at the head of Group B. So that's Sally Yates there, the UK. Now if I wanted to, I could go and do some digging about different runners, couldn't I? We haven't got time now, to be honest. Paul Deering says we're trying, as in we're trying to stick together. Very good. Serge Runner says, will power ever be posted in Zwift Run? Well, I would say yes to that, but I don't know when. I don't think it's very high on Zwift's roadmap of importance, really, at the moment. I think it's just another metric that might, because there's a lot of real estate on the screen taken up by metrics. And I think another metric they're probably not keen on, although you could of course have the option to have it displayed or not, but I don't think it's terribly high on their list at the moment, but I think it will come eventually. Pay to burn, thank you. Thumbs up to you. Actually, I haven't used this at all. Right on. There we go. Loud, that, isn't it? I never realised how loud it was. Yeah, I was going to look up different runners from the UK and list their PBs and stuff, but I won't. It's too cruel. I won't do that. And we haven't really got all that much time anyway to go searching for people. So Sally Yates has done 8.6 kilometres, Jonathan Allen, and the rest of the B group 8.3 kilometres, and S Pinto and Wesley New are on 7.8 kilometres. So Marcus must be into the warm down now, the cool down. You can see his pace is 4.5. He's speeding up again now. That means he's doing another sprint. Yeah, look at that. So right, Marcus has just probably started the final sprint, I think. 200 metres of sprinting. 3.49, 3.5 minutes per kilometre. And then you'll see that pace come down in a few seconds because it's only 200 metres. And they'll drop off as they slow down to recover for the final mile or 800 metres of recovery. And there we go. So Mark Sanderson slowing down. Marcus Holmes slowing down as well. So they're on to recovery. And Sally Yates is not yet started. I don't think she's just started the sprint yet. The final sprint. Looks like Jay Allen and the rest of the B group are in a sprint, because they're at 4.2 minutes per kilometre. And it's nice to see us running through the desert. We haven't been in the desert for a little while, so that's good. Tom, you should come round and see it. Thomas says he likes my new shed. Come round, have a look. It is awesome, I do like it. I can't really show you fully it because I can't turn the cameras round, but I suppose I could turn the cameras round. There we go. Is that enough for you? Right. So yeah, Marcus is definitely on the cool down now. Sally Yates is doing her final sprint. So she's at 4.07, 4.10 minutes per kilometre. So she's on the home straight, and Jeff Allen, Jonathan Cost, Ryan Downey, Paul Deering will just be coming up to that shortly. They're a minute and a half behind Sally Yates. And Sally's finished. She's finished her sprints anyway. So there's Jonathan. Let's go at the back of that group. So there we are. So this group now, Group B, will go for the sprints in a few seconds, 30 seconds or so. Oh, one goes off, then the other. Here they all go. Paul Deering's the last one to get himself moving. Come on, Paul. So this is their final 200-metre sprint before they get to the cool down and the end of the run. Yeah, Marcus says the flush out pace at the end is always fun. So you'll be doing a sprint and then you'll get a little rest period after the sprint, and then there's the cool down period. But the cool down period, you often go back up quite high to quite a fast pace before you eventually slow down again. So that's funny. Karen, Karen says, are running sheds common in England? I'll tell you the difference, Karen. In America, you have a lot more space to play with. So generally, land is cheaper. So houses are bigger. Certainly out of the cities, anyway. Houses are bigger. More of you have basements or extra rooms that you can utilise. In the UK and in Europe, houses are not much smaller. They are smaller. We have got less space. So there is simply no room in my house to have a dedicated gym or a dedicated room for other things. My wife would love to have her own art room, for example. We do have a loft conversion, but that's used as a spare bedroom for people when they come and stay, or often used just for storing things in. So maybe more people in the UK seem to have garden sheds or garden rooms that they can use for other things. That might be the reason why it seems to you that we kind of seem to have these outdoor buildings. It's simply because our houses are too small. That's my guess. I mean, you know more about the size of houses in America, but my guess is that land is definitely cheaper because there's more of it, so you can afford to have larger houses for the money, and there's maybe more acreage there for you to play with. Thank you, Karen, as well. Yeah, another one next weekend as well. I'm running a race called the North Downs Way 100 in about 4 weeks' time. It's going to be about the same in terms of it's a higher elevation, but the hills are a bit more nasty. So it's going to probably be as tough as the one I've just done, and it is more than 100 miles again as well. It's 103 miles or something like that, so it's definitely more than 100. This one that we just did, this race that we just did, it was supposed to be 104 miles. Most people have got at least 106, if not. Mine's 109. A friend of mine did 114, and then I saw somebody on Facebook has done 116 miles, and that's because navigation, because through these very narrow paths with overgrown everywhere, sometimes you weren't sure if you were even on the right route, so people would turn back and go hundreds of meters back in the opposite direction to try and find the right path, and eventually realized it was that path after all, and just adding meters and meters onto your distance over 100 miles, it's added another 10 miles to some people's distance. Karen says, I love the shed, by the way, much more airy than a basement. Well, yes, there is that. I can open the doors, although, yeah, it is airy. It is airier, certainly than a basement, but I could do with a window on this side so the air flows through. I have got my fan. And Marcus says he'd love a shed, exactly the same, humid in the basement. Yeah, but you guys in the States all have air conditioning though as well, don't you? So air conditioning is not a thing for houses in the UK, simply because it doesn't really ever get hot enough in the UK to warrant it. But I know The Simpsons is my de facto go-to source for all information about America, and I know I know that a lot of you have air conditioning units, and that is a thing, isn't it? So we don't do that here. So Group B just slowly coming to the end now. I don't know what section they're on, but I imagine they're on the cool down, and coming to the end of Monday Run Club for Monday the 8th of July 2019. Thank you for sticking with me while I just ramble on for 45 minutes or so. There was simply I really wanted to run tonight. I wanted to do Group C or Group D. I was hopeful that I could manage that. Turns out there was absolutely no way I was going to do that. No, I cannot. I could hardly walk yesterday. And this morning, although I can now walk, my legs are still very sore and certainly not in any fit state to do running. So I apologise for not running, but I will be back running on Wednesday. Whether it's just a slow jog or whether I'm able to join Group B or not, I don't know. Right now I'm thinking Group C on Wednesday. Marcus says he does have air conditioning, but it still seems humid. Wow. And Karen says The Simpsons. Yes, air conditioning. Thanks for the info.
find it fascinating in the difference in regions. Yes, it always is, isn't it? Especially cultures that are very similar. I mean, you can understand cultures that are very different having different ways of life, but cultures that are very similar, to then find very significant differences in the way we live is, that's interesting. It is interesting, and why those have happened. And Ryan Downey says, thanks for the encouragement. That was tough. Well done, Ryan. Good job in Group B. Ryan normally runs in Group C, and he's been dragged into Group B by Jonathan Cost today. Jonathan lives in the UK and Ryan lives in America. We are friends over the internet, and we run together and we talk together and we get to know each other, and it is like being in your own little running club online. And we have a great time. So if you are interested in joining Zwift, please do go and have a look at the website, zwift.com/run. You don't have to pay any money at all. Zwift running is free and will be for the foreseeable future. There are no plans to make running chargeable at the moment. It's still, even after a year or so, a year and a half, it is still a work in progress. So there is still time for it to improve even more, and for the numbers to grow next winter. Hopefully we'll get more people running on Zwift, and we'll have more races, more prizes, more events, and more fun. Hopefully I'll be running on Wednesday. Fingers crossed. Until then, just watching the guys chill out now. They've finished the workout, and they're now just running for their own fun, their own enjoyment. And they are. Ryan has stopped, or Paul Deering has stopped. Most people have stopped. And that's it. That is it for Monday Run Club. Thank you very much. I'll just check any last... My tablet has gone off again. Any last messages? Paul Deering says, thanks. Nice, steady run listening to you. Well, I hope you found me soothing and motivating. Can you be soothing and motivating at the same time? I hope you found me either soothing or motivating, or both. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care. We'll see you for another Zwift Run soon, hopefully on Wednesday. If I'm not running on Wednesday, I'll commentate again. But hopefully I'll be back running. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.